might be useful to them, to provide them with resources, and to make them aware of the resources that are available to them, because oftentimes in our community, our elderly are not made aware of resources that are available to them, like other communities. Also, for our youth, we need a youth center here in Plainfield. We need something positive for our young people in the city of Plainfield. Summer jobs, we need a safe haven program. Our young people are the unsafest after school. We have young people, little walking home alone, little kids walking home alone. We need programs that will keep our young people safe after school. So I'm really, really adamant about getting a youth center here in the city of Plainfield. Also for our needy, we need shelters. We need, there's a shelter, at the Y, emergency shelter at the Y. But a lot of times when people come through Youth Fellowship Ministries needing a shelter, they talk about safety issues. They don't feel safe at the Y, even though I referred people there because there was nothing else available. But we need shelters for the homeless. Also, we need programs for women of domestic violence. So these are some of the programs that I will try to implement if elected to this council.
Thank you. The next question is basically about infrastructure, and there's several on that. And may I start with you, Mr. Abdul Haq? Okay. Okay, I'll start then with Mr. Max.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. What do you feel about paving the city streets and bringing them up to grade? They're very, in little commentary, they're all in very poor shape.
I'm glad that you noticed that. That's a very sad commentary on the leadership that we've had in City Hall for the last 6 years. Our infrastructure has been ignored, has been abandoned. When I was the president of the council in 2004, we introduced an ordinance that led to the paving of 22 of our roadways, many of them in the third ward, but across the entire city. I'm the president this year, and we just adopted 3 bond ordinances where we will be paving over 30 roads. And I've had some of my constituents beating down on my door, calling my telephone, coming to the council meeting, and requesting that we give attention to our infrastructure, our roads. 2 streets that come to mind: Sheridan Avenue, Bellevue Court, which hasn't been paved, the residents told me, in over 50 years. And so I have shepherded these ordinances, working with my colleagues, working with the engineers. And this is something that we are committed to doing. We provided the funding, and so I am glad to report to those in this room and those within the sound of my voice that we are busy, we're getting to work, and a number of the roads in the city are going to be paved this year, thanks to my leadership and support of my colleagues.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor, your thoughts on paving the city streets and improving?
Yeah, well, sure. Well, again, back to knocking on the door is the first thing people want to know after the taxes and PMUA, what are we going to do about the roads? I have been very pleased to hear that a lot of the roads are being paved, and that there's a calendar. People really appreciate that when you can tell them, we can't get to you now, but in the year 2013, 2014, your road is scheduled to be paved. So, as a council person, it would be on my list to stay on top of. We have so many pressing issues. It just takes someone to just be mindful and stay on top of the issue and follow through. I would support the current council's press on this issue. They've been very successful, and look, folks just want the roads paved. They want to be able to walk outside and be safe. So I support the current administration's initiative with the roads.
Thank you. Reverend Brown.
I also support the current administrative initiative for the roads. I live on Gene Terrace here in Plainfield, and in that area, the roads are pitiful. I believe that's the second ward. The roads, Jean Terrace, Francis, those streets, Shirley, those streets are terrible. And I have tried to notify council in reference to getting the roads paved. Sometimes they will come by and, they will do little potholes, but, it doesn't work. Our cars are getting jacked up, because of where we live, so I would definitely, support getting the roads paved, and not just paved, on South Avenue, not just paved, in certain communities, but paved, throughout the whole city of Plainfield.
Thank you. Mr. Abdul-Wahab?
Oh, yes. My car just reminded me that the roads were problematic. But I would like to remind everyone that it's disgraceful to look at the streets, the sidewalks downtown, the bubble gum. You just can't clean them. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to study that and try to figure it out.
Okay, thank you. Now is the big question that concerns all of this, and it comes in several different forms, but where's the money for all this going to come from? And some people want to know if the council can reduce my taxes and how. What I would like to start with you, Reverend Brown. How can we reduce taxes? How can we pay for all of this?
Again, one of the ways to reduce taxes is to bring viable businesses into our community. We also can apply for grants, on different levels that will be a benefit and a help to paving the streets in Plainfield. But we have to do our research. We just can't sit back and not do anything. But there are available resources, that will help pave city streets. But we have to, the council has to really be adamant about looking into it and not be lazy about it and just try to get the work, the resources that we need to get it done.
Ms. Taylor?
There's lots of questions about where the money's going to come from. Where's the money going to come from for this pension payment, that delayed pension payment that's going to come up that wasn't in the budget meetings that I went to? I don't know where that's going to come from. I know that one of the things we're going to have to look at, there's going to be cuts. Doesn't matter who gets elected, that's the way it's going to be. We're going to have to find the money. We're really going to have to consider shared services. Shared services where they make sense. That doesn't mean that we lose the services to the community. That just means somebody can do it better and still service our community. I.e. WIC. Maybe we don't need to run our independent WIC organization. We can go down to the county, just like it does in other communities. Some of the grants that we manage ourselves may have to be put out to another cap. We run our own cap. We don't necessarily need to have a cap, community action program at the municipal level. We certainly can have that absorbed through another county. They can run it there, but our constituents, our residents here in our community would not lose services. And we may have to think about looking at the PMUA. One of the benefits of reabsorbing it into the city is that it would be a tax write-off. That would provide immediate relief to the residents.
Thank you. Mr. Mann?
I believe that the money can come from a more aggressive approach, a more aggressive pursuit of grants at every level, especially at the federal level. There hasn't been a focus on pursuing grants by the mayor and her administration, and that needs to change. So that's one way that we can try to get more money to go toward the funding of the road projects. In addition to that, there's no question about it. We have to spend some of our own money. And so that's why they're called capital ordinances. We're going to have to float bonds in order to raise the money that's going to be needed to provide for the maintenance of our infrastructure. And those payments are going to be made over time, over a 15-year time period. We have to ensure that we become more frugal with the public purse. We cannot just give public dollars to private organizations. We cannot. It's against the Constitution. And I think that if we become more frugal and stop giving taxpayers dollars to private organizations, I believe that we can, bring together the type of funding that we will need. But floating bond ordinances are going to be a vital and necessary part of how we raise the funds. We can't do it any other way.
Mr. Abdul Haq.
Yes, I finally can agree with Mr. Matt. We're going to have to be wiser and more frugal. Yes, I agree, shared services. But I know where there's some money at. It's called $1.2 million. That's money. That's real money.
I'm going to have to ask you not to give us any more questions. I'm having all I can do to try to get through what we've got, so please hold those for now. I'm going to ask you to start, Ms. Taylor, and I'm going to combine a couple of questions here because they're about budgets and funding. If we can do that, we'll do it. What's your view on CCTV? Are you willing to reallocate funds in the budget to get the CCTV program up and running if you have to? But there's a second part. Do you agree with the mayor's decision to cut the library's funding at such a drastic level? And that's a budget decision, so can you combine those two services? And
In the level of priority, while I may support local cable channel, I support the library. We cannot, the library provides such a service to this community, and they're getting ready to expand. We have so many people out of work. They have shifted focus. It's not just a depository for books anymore. People just don't go there just to check out books and movies. They go there to gain valuable skills so they can re-enter the job market. This is what the library is doing for our people. We cannot close, the library can't be closed any extra hour, which is what will happen if we don't get that money back in that budget. Those kids won't be able to go there on Saturdays, the hours will be cut. If you go out there and stand, I taught third grade last year. If you stand outside the library and see how many children go into that library immediately after school and stay to 6 o'clock, where are they going to go? A lot of, believe it or not, the digital divide is real. People, not everyone has a computer at home. Some people, that's the only place they can go to have access to the internet. So no, cable TV, that's secondary to me. It's the Plainfield Public Library. We need to give them more money and it has to stay open. They need to be fully funded.
thank you. Reverend Brown, can you address the, well, there's two questions. Do you agree with the mayor's decision to cut the library's funding at such a drastic level? And what's your view on CCTV? And are you willing to reallocate funds in the budget to get them running if you have to?
I think that cable television benefits, the city keeps it informed, and we need information. I believe that we could also find volunteers to work in the library and look for funds to support the library, where maybe it does not have to be closed, but funds still. I mean, when you talk about funds cutting library, of course that's not a very good idea. But also, would you rather have police officers cut or firemen cut, which would create a very bad safety hazard here in our city? So I think you have to come up with an idea that will keep the library open with volunteer, and maybe, again, there are grants available for libraries in inner cities.
Thank you. Mr. Abdul Haq?